So, what is your name?
Mr. Ruane.
All right. What was your first job?
My first job was mowing yards and being a lifeguard at the St. Mary City Pool.
Did you play any sports in high school?
I did. I played football, basketball, and tennis for all 4 years.
What was your least favorite thing to happen in 2020?
My least favorite thing in 2020 was the quarantining and shutting down and not being able to go about your daily business.
All right. What is your funniest high school memory?
My funniest high school memory. Ooh, there were some good ones. One of them was probably coming out for a basketball game to the fight song at the old school, and came out of the locker room, and there was a wet spot on the floor from all the people walking on the floor, and I stepped on the rug and it hit the water, and it surfboarded me across, and I took out about a fourth of the cheerleaders that were making the tunnel cheering it out. So I just crashed into them, and they all tumbled down. So we were on a pile. So that was a pretty funny moment.
All right. What was your least favorite subject in high school?
You have to watch this one in case Mrs. Wilker is watching, because there was probably, I had Mrs. Wilker, and it was probably a math, just because math just wasn't my favorite.
Okay.
Sorry, Mrs. Wilker.
Hobbies outside of school?
Hobbies, I like running, I like sports, I like watching sports, I like playing sports, I like being outside, taking walks, I like spending time with my family, especially my daughter Noelle, who's the camera woman right now.
Okay. What was your biggest regret from high school?
My biggest regret from high school. I would say not so much what I regret, but what I think the best advice for kids not to regret is, and this is from going through high school and then also being a high school administrator and a superintendent, is just to make sure that you're only in high school for a short 4 years, and it goes very, very fast. So make sure you enjoy it, and you try to be active in many things. Athletics aren't for everybody, music's not for everybody, but try different things, whether it be the play, drama, whether it be Scholastic Bowl, whether it be esports, whether it be different activities and clubs that you can be members of. Just try to reach out, try to make new friends, because once you move on from 4 years, you'll be around all a new group of people, and you want to be able to make friends and fit in and have different interests with different people besides just your close group all the time.
Right. Okay. What's the worst thing that has happened in your classroom? Well, in your experience, so like in an office.
In my office, I probably can't disclose that information right now.
Right.
It's probably confidential, so I'll just leave it with that one. I'd say right now it's doing the COVID. I said the last 7 months, a lot of people that see me, I usually hear two things. And it's usually, man, I don't want to have your job right now. And the second thing is, man, I'm saying prayers for you. So when people are telling you they don't want your job and they're saying prayers for you, it's been a little bit challenging, I'd say. Not so much it's horrible or bad, but it's just been challenging of everything with the COVID and with a school district of 2,000 people and 400 staff members and community.
All right, and last one. What's the weirdest or the funniest thing that you've ever seen on the test? Maybe that you've heard about from since you're not necessarily a teacher.
I had and this was one of the things that was covered on the test, but it was a pretty neat lesson. But in college, I had it was a psychology class, and the professor the one day was up there teaching, and all of a sudden a kid went up there and started cussing and saying he was done with class. This was a lecture about 400 people, and he went up there and was cussing at the professor, and then he got in a fight with the professor and grabbed his lecture notes and everything and ran out of the classroom, and everyone was just looking around and like, what did we just see? What just happened? And then the professor jumped up, turned on the music to like a James Bond or Mission Impossible thing, and went running out the door, and then came back in. And the whole thing was, it was a lesson on identification, and if people can properly identify people in a crime or you know, in any type of situation, and that it was proving that that's usually not very accurate when people go back and say they witnessed something. So, and then we had to sit down and they asked us, and they had a sketch artist come in and draw what the person looked like that attacked the professor. So it was kind of a test of the whole class of what the person looked like and how well we were paying attention. But we didn't do so well on it, but it just kind of proved that when the heat of the moment things are happening, the first-hand witnesses' accounts aren't always accurate. But that was a pretty neat lesson, I thought.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.